Hi everyone and happy Monday. We have a picture here, I'm just popping my lamp on, which is from Ivy in the Inky Butterfly, and we have a sort of water house, I suppose. It's quite a fun picture, but there's a lot going on. So I've grabbed my Polychromos because I need to be able to sharpen my pencils quite finely to do all these little details, and I was just in the mood for using polys. They had the colours that I wanted. Coming in a little closer to do the water down here, look. What I think I'm going to do is use my sort of turquoisey colours. I'm going to start with the cobalt green and mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to go a little darker at the bottom and then a bit lighter at the top of this particular wave, like that. And then I'm going to just mix it up, so I'm going to use a mix of colours. So the next one is going to be this one. Let's do this one. And this one I'm going to just make a little more intense at the bottom and lighter to the top. And I'm going to do this sort of pattern on all of them. Making them a little bit lighter at the top like that, and just like on this one I could go for the middle again like I did there, but I'm going to not. I'm going to move to this one, just going to try and mix it out, make it look a little bit random. You could do the same colour on all of them, but I think it's quite nice to just mix it up a little bit. And we've got a few different slightly sort of turquoisey shades that we can use, so it will be good, I think, to mix it. So I'm just I'm thinking actually the ones with 3, I was going to use 3 pencils, so perhaps I should put a bit on this one as well. So it's Monday again. It comes around so quickly to the Monday videos. I think perhaps because they're getting quite complex and I'm having to do them over a selection of days. I mean, I know I don't have to do them over a selection of days, and I know some of you would like it if I did it all in one and did one big video, but I also feel that it's quite nice to have it in shorter bouts, as it were, shorter installments, to help you to just spread it a little if you haven't quite got the time. I mean, of course you could pause the video and come back to it. I suspect that some of you do anyway, but I feel that I think it makes it a little bit more manageable. It also gives me some content every day. You know, some people know they only produce content once a week, every few weeks, that sort of thing. I like to do it a bit more often. I think it's quite nice. If I had a favourite YouTuber that I watch regularly, which I actually don't, I would be really excited if they kept producing lots of new content. So I was sort of looking at it from my point of view, really. How would I feel? What would I want? You know, which is why I do it this way. But I know not everyone does. Some people, you know, they'll take a really long time producing a video that's almost like a TV channel quality video, sort of fully scripted and well edited and things like that, but that's not what I think my channel needs, to be honest. You know, you want to come and watch me colour, perhaps colour along. I could come in a little bit closer, couldn't I? Just thinking about it. There we go. Or just listen, chat, chill, colour with me, hopefully, that sort of thing. So I don't think it necessarily, it doesn't need to be cinematically perfect, you know. And if it was going to be, I would have to invest a lot of money into the channel and that sort of thing, and time. Well, I couldn't put in any more time than I do already. I already do more than full time, and it might think, well, you only do, like, you know, an hour a day, but that's not all there is, you know. So it does take a lot of time. I'm fortunate because I enjoy it, so that's good. But today it's already, what time is it? 2 o'clock, 10 past 2, and this is the first bit of recording I've done, so yeah, I had lots of other things on. What was I doing this morning? I had to go to town, post some parcels off. I sold children, I say children, 18-year-olds children. They asked me to sell a few of their things on eBay, which I did, and a few of my things as well, so they had to be taken down to the post office and posted off, which was good. So I got that done. So there's some money coming, mainly for them, but never mind. Then what did we do then? Oh, I got back and I had to try and I found a company that can get rid of all the mould that we've got in our bathroom from the leaking shower. I did explain in a previous, actually I don't know what order the videos are going out. Yeah, we discovered that our shower or something is leaking in our bathroom and creating huge amounts of mould. All the wood's rotten. It's a horrible mess. So I've got a company to come out hopefully later in the week. Well, hopefully by the time this video comes they would have come out to do a survey to check where the leak is and what mould is there, and then if they can sort of you know, treat it and that sort of thing, get rid of it all. And then we've got to find a carpenter to replace all the rotten wood, and then a plumber to put all the shower back together again. So it's quite a long-winded job. We are very, very fortunate that we have another shower in our house, so we don't have to rush the job or find somewhere else to have showers. So that's good. But yeah, we'll be digging into our retirement fund for that one. But as husband said, there's always going to be things, you know. But yeah, but it'll be nice to. We have been having a real bad damp problem in the shower for a while now, not really knowing why it's suddenly got so bad, and maybe this is why. So we'll see. But they do a sort of thorough investigation of the whole house, which is good, and just check everything. So it might be that they find something else as well, which in a way wouldn't be good, but on the other hand, you know, sometimes it's good to get stuff done early rather than wait for disaster to happen. But anyway, we'll see what's going on with that. So waiting for a call back later from them just to get that finalised, and then hopefully organise for them to come. I'm hoping they'll come on Friday when husband's not at work. Oh, I've just realised he's got an appointment at 3 o'clock. That's okay, I will have to remind him about that bit later on. Okay, this is my first layer. Now you don't have to do it exactly the same as me. You may have been trying to copy exactly what I did, but really you can do it your own way. I'm going to go darker now and use the cobalt turquoise and basically go back through doing the same thing again, but just with this slightly darker colour. I find this quite meditative, calming. You know, you don't really have to think too much about what you're doing, and I rather like that. What I'm intending on doing 3 colours, so what I'm doing now is just filling in so that I'm thinking if I've just got one left, will it work with what I'm doing, sort of thing. yeah, and this afternoon we had to go to a supermarket to return some items. You can order online clothing and things, and we'd ordered my son some tops. They were too small, so we've ordered him a different size. Hopefully we sort of exchanged them, so hopefully it's right this time. And got a few things from there that we can't get from the local grocery store. So that was all good. Chat to my sister about the election, as always. She always likes to talk politics. But well, online I was talking to her. But one of the parties has released their manifesto, which is like their formal booklet about what all their policies would be if they were elected, and if any of their representatives get elected, what they would be standing for, sort of thing. So it's quite interesting. Unfortunately, it's a party that won't get in here. Our town has basically two parties that compete very closely, always. So it can be quite exciting because, you know, you don't know who's going to get in. There's never a guarantee because it's so close. And it does mean that your vote can make a difference because of the fact that it's so close. Whereas in some places where the same person always gets in or the same party always gets in, then it almost would feel like it wasn't worthwhile bothering to vote because they wouldn't get in. But I think it feels like the country wants a change. But it's always a bit hard to tell until the day, really, because often the people with the loudest voices are not the people who are not the majority. So it feels like everyone's saying, oh, I'm going to vote this, I'm going to vote this, and therefore this party's going to get in. But it's not always the reality. So that's what makes it quite interesting. But to be honest, I'm not sure that we're going to see huge changes personally, on a personal basis, really. It feels like we're very lucky. We're in the sort of area where we're not relying on the government for benefits. We're not pensioners, we haven't got young children, so we're sort of in a category of people that doesn't really get extra help from anybody or for anything, you know, because they want to help the pensioners, they want to help the younger children education, and you know, or older people. So things for us don't really change, and that's how it should be, but it just means that it doesn't make a big deal of difference. But of course, you're not just thinking about you necessarily. You might be thinking about what's going to happen in your town, to your friends and relatives, to people as a whole, that sort of thing as well. There we go. I find the whole thing quite fascinating, to be honest. But we'll see what happens. And I think it's the 4th of July, which is quite interesting because I just booked an appointment for that day. Actually, to have my boiler service. We have to have it serviced yearly, and the chap who's done it's been doing that job for us for 23 years, maybe. He knows us quite well. So when I said, oh, any day in July will do, he said, oh, 4th of July. I said, yeah, that's fine. And then he replied, election day. I was like, yep. But I always have a postal vote. I used to, I quite like going to the voting place. Oh, what is it flipping called? And voting, but none of the rest of the family do. Husband's often at work, so it makes it really difficult. It's the polling station, it's called, isn't it? And the children haven't got ID, so you have to have ID to go to a polling station and vote. So at the end of the day, it was just easier for everyone. I need to do a bit more on that one. There we go. To just get a postal vote. And so that's what we do. And I never know whether, I always get worried when I'm doing my postal vote and then I have to sign it and they have to check the signature ties up with what the one on record, and I often wonder whether my signature will tie up and think maybe I'm spoiling or wasting my vote because I haven't got a signature that ties up. But in the end, if there was just one vote in it, then it would make a difference, but there isn't, so normally. Imagine if there was just one vote in it. I don't think that's ever happened in any place. I think we did one there. And they do sometimes have recounts when it's really close. I think that our election before last, there are about 600 to 800 votes in it, which is pretty close. And in my parents' area, I think it was like that last time. So theirs is going to be quite closely contested, I think. It always is. It does make it interesting, as I said. Right, I think I'm going to grab my next colour. Whoops, my pencil's running all over the place. Oh, I've got a few more turquoises. I've got the bluish turquoise and the helio turquoise, but I think I'm just going to use this bluish turquoise and finish off all of these. Now, as an extra little embellishment on the water, you could use some white pen. Now, white pen sits nicely on Polychromos. There are lots of different ways you could do it. You could do little dots on the black. I'd be quite tempted to dot over the black, or you could do just go over the black totally. You could draw little swirls just under the black lines. Well, follow the curve of the line, sort of thing. That's what I mean. There's a lot you could do. It's I've gone a bit square. There we go. We've got all our detailed work coming up on this picture. It's a cute little boat. I don't know if you can see it, or you can see it. We've got a sort of pier almost with a house on. That's what I would call it. Which is rather sweet. I'm sure I've done a picture like this before in a planner. I wonder if, because this is from a double page, I wonder if it was the other side, maybe. I can't remember, but I don't think I did the water in lots of different colours like this. Oh, itchy eyebrow. Sun shining now. Went out, took coats thinking it was going to rain. Didn't rain, sun came out. Then I think it just rained a little bit just now because I noticed I peeped out and everything suddenly looked wet even though I hadn't heard it raining, which was strange. And now it's really sunny again. It's traditional British weather, I guess. Bikini and umbrella. I remember, that reminds me of a little story about my gran. My gran is no longer with us, but I think she's about 96 or something like that when she passed away. But she, when she was a child, she did a fancy dress competition which she won, and she had a photograph of herself. Actually, I've seen it once, I think, but she told me about it on numerous occasions. That she went as, she dressed up, her fancy dress outfit was the British weather, and so she had a bikini on, and she had, I think she might have had a one Wellington boot. She had a fur coat, but she only put her arm into one sleeve, so you know it was only on one side of her. I think she was carrying a little portable electric heater or something. So she was sort of and a sun hat or something like that, I think. So it was very creative, I have to say. I don't know whether it was her idea, but she won. Rightly so, I say. And yeah, you just tell me about that. I think that was when she was at school, and it was a school fancy dress competition. And when I was at school, we used to have fancy dress competitions too. Same school. Except when my gran went to the school, she went all the way until she was 14. And then she left school. You didn't stay at school beyond 14 unless you were doing examinations. You had to be really clever and really well off in her day to do examinations, because only the grammar schools did them, and although the grammar schools aren't fee paying, you have to pass the entrance exam. There was a uniform which you didn't have to, which other schools didn't have, so you had to be well off enough to afford the uniform, which and you didn't get help like you do these days with the cost of uniform. So basically, if you couldn't afford the uniform, you couldn't go, and that happened to quite a few of my mum's brothers. They should have gone, but they couldn't afford it. Interestingly, my dad, who I've always thought was extremely clever, didn't say that had done well enough to go, but he wouldn't have been able to afford it either. You know, it just, and to get there as well, they lived a really long way away. Like, they would walk to school, and it would be miles, but actually the grammar schools are a little bit closer, but it was still a long way to walk, you know. But people walked so much further back in those days, didn't they? People didn't have cars. We didn't have a car until I was 5, you know. Then to afford the car, my parents used to have bicycles. To afford the car, I think my dad borrowed money off his dad and then would pay him back every week, something like that. But yeah, they used to cycle, and they used to have a little seat on the back of the bike for me and my sister, so we could sit with them. When we got too old to sit on the bike, they had to think of a different solution, and it also didn't work unless both of them were cycling. It's interesting because these days I think, goodness, you know, they would visit their parents. They would stay until it was fairly late after tea and then cycle home. It's been exhausting. I always think, oh gosh, I wouldn't want to go and see my parents and then walk to the bus. I'd have to take a bus and then go home late. I'd be tired. I like having a lift in the car. It's what we get used to, isn't it? You know. But anyway, I guess they were a bit younger than me. A bit more energetic. But also my mum started refusing to cycle because it was so busy. The traffic got much busier and she felt frightened. We didn't have helmets and things back in those days. Right, we're going to do the boat. Okay, now we've got a little loopy pattern. I like that. I'm going to do that first. I'm going to grab my burnt sienna, which I think is really pretty. And I'm going to do the outside of the loop in this colour. Yeah, it's interesting how quickly things have changed. My gran never had a car. You know, my grandfather learnt to drive in the army. He didn't, I think they gave him a licence. I'm not sure. He just used to drive occasionally. He would have to hire a car though, he couldn't afford to buy one. And he didn't really go out very much anyway. He wouldn't walk very much either. My dad occasionally would pick him up and take him. We would go out somewhere, but not really. Yeah, none of my grandparents drove. My mum doesn't drive. I don't drive. But I don't drive because I get really scared. I don't know, I get scared of hitting things, hitting people, crashing, all sorts of things. Right, we have the nougat. Sorry, oh, it's good. I could come in a bit closer. I haven't done anything too amazing yet. I've just blocked in. So I'm going to do a light nougat. There we go. Now I'm thinking, I'm going to do a bit inside these as well. And this bit. There we go. I'm trying to make it reasonably even. It doesn't really matter that much. Now I'm going to do the walnut brown. What I'm going to do here is try and add a little bit of depth. So under this lip, I think it's a lip, I'm going to put a bit of shadow under. There we go. I'm just checking the time. Sorry, I'm just aware my husband's got an appointment. I need to make sure he's ready for it. So I'm putting a shadow under here as well, as if it's just a little something that's on top of the boat. That's quite thick, but I think it's okay. I can hear so much noise outside. I'm so nosy. There's a garage down the road and they're doing some digging and stuff. I don't know what they're doing. There was a man there the other day just putting on his sort of high-vis jacket, getting out of his car. I was so tempted to go and say to him, "What are you doing?" I just didn't quite have the cheek. Should have learned, shouldn't I? Alright, there we go. I like that. Now, oops. Just picking through my gold browns. This is the brown ochre. Too small. I've been trying to order this one. It's been out of stock, and now I'm thinking I need to hold off ordering for a bit. Got a lot of expenses. I'm just going to have to use this until it's the tiniest nub, and then go without, I think. Can't really justify it at the minute. But there we go. It's okay. I've got plenty of pencils, so I certainly can't complain. It does me good because I can choose something. It'll force me to choose a different colour, like my raw umber, which I've got in my hand, which is much longer. It's a slightly different colour, of course. Look how much longer that is, so I can use that instead. And Polychromos don't wear down that quickly. Under here and under here, and there we go. It's a noisy train. Now I think this bit here might be, we could do it with a little bit more colour. Trying to think about colour. Quite like to do it blue, and then it will just sit there with the water looking pretty. So I'm going to grab this. This is the helio-blue reddish. Whoops. And I could do this sort of wall areas with this. I've got this sort of door. Just going to put a bit more on. This one too. I'm going to make this one a little bit paler just because it's facing a different direction, so it'll be catching the light in a different way, like that. And then we've got our chimney. try and make it a little bit lighter in the middle. There we go. And I'm going to go for a darker blue. I'm going to use the dark indigo. Again, I need to just sharpen it. Yeah, I'm going to have to finish up. I think I'll just finish this boat and then I'll be done for today. I feel like I need another coffee. I haven't long had one. There we go. The top, just try and make it a bit dark on the edges. Do the window frames. Now, I have to think about whether the windows are going to be, they're going to be little lights inside and the portholes down here, or are we going to make them look, can do this light, are we going to make them look grey and empty? He's sort of docked, isn't he, under here, so I think he might be, I'm going to do these circles a bit darker. There we go, a bit of a cheat, easy. Is he docked? I'm going to do the door in the same colour. I think he's probably is docked, so I'm just going to make them look slightly shiny rather than worrying about the lights or thinking about lights. I've just noticed this little duck in this picture, which is really cute. Here we go. Let's use the cold grey ore. And what I'm going to do is just put a little bit here and here. Leave a bit of white so it looks like it's sort of catching the light. Do the same on our other windows. There we go. Okay, now let's come out. So you can see we haven't done an awful lot in half an hour. I might do, I don't know how long it's going to take us. There's so much going on in this page, but we'll see. But there is what I've done so far. So sorry it's not too long, but I have got to go and get my husband ready for his meeting in case he's forgotten. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you'll drop in for tomorrow's video. But for now, have a super day and happy colouring.